Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Melayna, and I am a practitioner that hangs out around this temple. And today I'll be leading you through a little bit of loving kindness practice. But before I get into the meditation, I kind of wanted to tell a little story. This week while I was at work, my boss got irrationally angry with one of my coworkers over some nickels. He needed some change, some nickels, and then ended up with too many nickels, loose nickels in the drawer, which are one pain to count. And also, he had told the coworker in question that he wasn't going to take the nickels, but somebody else took the nickels. And after he went around the room and told everyone how angry he was about it, went around the room, told everyone how he was in the right, how he was correct. He went to the coworker in question and he yelled at them in front of everyone. And everyone a lot of us were upset by it. The coworker in question was very upset about it because he felt it was very disrespectful. And when we tried to talk to him about it, he just kept saying, but I'm right, but I'm right, but I'm right. And this is kind of an important reminder in that often when we're trying to justify our anger, that's how we know that we've done something wrong. We've hurt another human being. That's why we're trying to justify it. And, that anger, it hurt more than just that one person it was really directed at. Everyone in the room had a more heightened sense of suffering, of pain, of fear, of uncertainty in the workplace. And it created a very hostile environment. And this is why our actions are so important. Because no one's going to remember that my boss was right. It doesn't matter if he was right or wrong in the situation. His actions are all that are going to be remembered about the situation. That was the day boss made us scared. That was the day boss yelled at us. That's the day boss was mean to us. And that's why it's so important for us to focus on how we show up in the world. And that's what Metta and loving kindness practice helps us do, is to take our actions, whether they are, whether we are feeling anger or hatred or sadness or whatever it is we're feeling, and unconditionally show up in the world with a spirit of friendliness and compassion, fueled by wisdom. And that's what we hope to do, at least practice here today, so that we can take that out into the world. And so that we don't unintentionally harm anyone else with our bouts of anger. And, well, frankly, just the idea that we're always right and they're always wrong. So that was kind of stuck out for me, a little lesson of this week in terms of why we practice. Now, before I get into meditation, let's give you kind of a brief summary of what I'm going to do. I'm going to speak a little bit throughout. We're going to, loving kindness is often defined. Some people, they're like, is it love? Is it kindness? I prefer unconditional friendliness, just a spirit of friendliness toward everyone. You don't have to, invite them into your home and feed them your bread and salt and all that. But just having a sense of civility, a sense of just a general kind of feeling of goodness towards others. So first we're going to send that spirit of friendliness, that spirit of kindness, that spirit of love to ourselves. because that's where really it all starts, for us to meet ourselves with gentleness and forgiveness and kindness and give ourselves grace to make mistakes and to acknowledge what those mistakes are and know that we can continue on being better, at least better than the day before. And then after that, we're going to send kindness and unconditional friendliness to someone we care about, then to someone who's very neutral, and to someone who may be a little bit difficult in our lives. And I always preface this by saying that don't choose the most difficult person in your life. I mean, you can if you want to. That's going to make this very difficult. But just someone who is like generally irritating. Maybe somebody, maybe you have like a coworker whose voice is a little grating on you, or just somebody who always, walks down your hallway too loud, something like that. And then afterwards, we're going to send as much kindness and friendliness as we can muster as far as we possibly can. And that may be close by, that may be the entire world, that may be the universe, whatever works for you. So with that, I'll go ahead and get into the meditation practice. Is anyone brand new to meditation? All right, everybody's got their thing. So yeah, find a comfortable seat. Try to keep your posture erect. I like to imagine there's a string holding up my spine from the crown, and so that my posture is nice. But sit however you're comfortable. You can do eyes open, eyes closed. You can take a cushion, you can take a chair, whatever works for you. I will start with 3 invitations of the bell. I will end with 3 invitations of the bell. And yeah, should be about 20-ish minutes. Settle into a comfortable seat. Bring your focus onto your breathing. And call your awareness and presence to the space, or to your body, to the space around you. Hear the sounds outside, if there are any. And focus on each in-breath and out-breath. Now try to cultivate a spirit of kindness, of friendliness, and send those feelings to yourself. Because without loving ourselves, we cannot love another. Giving yourself grace and space, repeat the phrases, may I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease. Now, bring to mind a benefactor, someone you care about, or someone who has helped you in some way. Offer them the phrases, may they be safe, may they be happy, may they be healthy, may they live with ease. Let this person go. Now bring to mind a neutral person, someone you don't know very well, perhaps someone you see on the bus or grocery store clerk. Recognize that just as you suffer and wish to be free of suffering, this person also wishes to be free of suffering. Without expectation, without condition, offer them the phrases. May they be safe. May they be happy. May they be healthy. May they live with ease. Let this person go. Now bring to mind a difficult person. someone who may be irritating you, or perhaps someone you don't feel like you want to be very kind to right now. Recognize that as you suffer, this person also suffers. Without expectation, without condition, offer them the phrases. May they be safe. May they be happy. May they be healthy. May they live with ease. Now, letting go of all thoughts of others, try to expand your awareness as far as you can to all beings in all directions. Beings on this planet, maybe another, all sentient beings. Recognize that all beings wish to be free from suffering. Offer them the phrases. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be happy. May all beings live with ease. Gently bring your awareness back to the room, back to the present moment. Take some time to move around, do a stretch, and if you like, you can return to your seat. That's got to be one of the more quiet meditations I think I've had in here. There's like no sirens, no screaming, nobody talking in the street. This is a pretty nice one, I think. On a different note. So after the meditation, I like to do is I kind of open it up to you guys. See if you have any questions about the meditation, about Buddhist practice. If you have anything you'd like to share about your experience tonight, or anything about why you decided to come to Loving Kindness tonight. I know for me personally, this is not my preferred practice. It's always been very difficult for me. I'd rather just sit and be still and not have to do any work during my meditation. But that's why this is a practice, because we don't do this to do it while we're sitting, to do it while it's quiet, to do it while it's easy. We do this in order to do it when it's hard, in order to do it when there's chaos, in order to do it when we are in situations where our reactivity would take over for our wisdom and our compassion. So with that, I'll leave it to you. Yes, sir.
I found it especially hard today. So it's always good to have the mirror. I have like squirrel brain going on. Just but I've been coming here a little bit over, maybe not quite 2 months, various meditations. And I agree, this one can be tricky, but I also find it the one that lasts the most for me when I leave.
Okay.
Like I've said before, I was like, oh, it almost feels like I took a drug. In a good way.
Yeah.
You know, like something has actually changed for me. And I will notice it like the next day at work sometimes in difficult situations. And doesn't get me through the whole week, but has about a 24-hour efficacy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's pretty good. Some people don't make it across the street, so it's good, you know.
Yeah.
Some people don't make the drive home. Before I forget, if you are watching online and you would like to ask a question, feel free to type it in the chat. My apologies for not welcoming you earlier. But yeah, it's definitely, I feel like it's like almost proportionate to how much you're putting into it, because it does take a little bit more concentration than just saying, okay, I'm here. Here's my thought, let it go. Here's my thought, let it go. This is where I'm channeling my my energy towards. Thank you.
Well, this is my first time coming here, but I think one of my favorite parts of Buddhism has always been like extending like that love to everyone unconditionally. So I really enjoyed like the practice of it.
Yeah.
Really
I like that you said that the unconditional nature of it is really the most important part, because that relates to our attachment. And, you know, when we attach to outcome and expectations for others, that's when we promote our own suffering. And so if we can give love regardless of what other people are doing, then we're on the right path. I mean, it's not always easy, but no one ever said this was easy. Thank you for your comment.
I wanted to add one more thing too from something you just said. I say this to coworkers all the time. I'm in a highly procedural, it gets very busy kind of grocery store situation. And I always say the habits you learn and practice in peacetime is what you're going to default to when things go just haywire. And so you kind of almost said the same thing about this practice.
Right.
Yeah, like what you sort of put into yourself as a regular rhythm is then going to carry when you get into more difficult situations.
Yeah, it's exactly that. A lot of this is around our compulsive reactions to things. When we start changing, becoming aware of the ways that we react to things, and start to consciously change them and cultivate that change, then they become the new learned compulsive behaviors that are not harmful anymore. They're now beneficial behaviors, which is really, I think for me and everyone I know who enjoys the practice, is that's been the greatest freedom, because all of this is really just about liberating ourselves from suffering. And when we can change our actions, that is when we get just that a little bit more freedom in the world to prevent at least some of our own suffering and the suffering of others. Thank you. Yes.
This is the one I always struggle with the most. I'll say I feel like I'm a kind person, but not always for the right reasons. It's a good reminder, like the unconditional love is a great reminder, just in general. And it's something that I feel like, at least for me, I have to kind of focus on or kind of let go some of my, my other attachments, and things should be done a certain way, or, it's just a good reminder. So I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the hardest thing, is being kind without respecting anything to ever come back to us. It's the same thing with generosity. The entirety of it is that, when I say it's like, expect nothing from anyone ever, and then you won't be disappointed, and then you won't suffer. But unfortunately, life isn't simple enough for us to just be like, I don't expect anything. Everyone's an enigma. I have no idea what's going on. It's fine. We all want to, just in our own self-interest, try to figure out what's going on with other people, and in some ways control their behavior. And that's not really something we can do. But, realizing that they are also beings that suffer, and also beings that want to control their environment, and also beings that want to have expectations. And they are also, promoting their suffering, and they're having disappointments as well. We can give them the same sort of grace and space that we can allow ourselves in those situations. Because that's really, because like we allow our space, forgive ourselves for the things that we do. I know early on, I came across the idea of learning one's own propensities, right? Like what are the things that you do habitually, right, that are not good for you? I had some things that were substance related, some things that were not, that I kind of had to see, okay, so when this happens, I do this. And when this happens, I do that. And I'm trying to make this person do this, and I want this person to do that, and I want this. And once you start to see it, then you can start to address it. And you're not going to see every single moment of every day, but when we stop and we slow down and we think, and we do our meditation, and we can give ourselves a little clarity, it becomes so much easier to see those things. And that's what, I'm really learning to just kind of let things be and be like, I can't do anything about that. And I'm not going to expect people to behave a certain way, even though that's the most convenient way for them to behave for me. They're not going to do that all the time. And then, expecting nothing in return is really, really important as well. Just because, if you're going around giving things to people, generosity, if you're going around giving gifts to people, expecting they're always going to give you something in return, then that's not really generosity. That's just, you're doing something to benefit yourself, not just to benefit others.
find myself getting really distracted and bored during Metta emoji. And it feels easier sometimes to practice loving kindness while I'm not meditating. It feels in formal practice, at least. When I'm like in community, when I see people, that feels like the time where I get to practice meeting the person with, softness and the kindness and dignity that they deserve. But when I sit and do this meditation, I find it way harder for my heart mind, the whole thing is just kind of stuck on the fact that it's not really happening in the moment, and a little bit more in this how do I hold on to this kind of almost woo-woo situation of sending and being, but that I'm sitting here and and I struggle with trying to figure out kind of what that embodiment can feel like and be like when there's not actually a situation or a person in front of me.
So, when you say you're performing the act of loving kindness to someone directly in front of you, what does that look like? Is that a physical action? Are you doing a task, or are you just able to have a feeling of friendliness or treat them with friendliness?
Yeah, it is in my mind heart. It's happening in here. I'm not. There's no. I don't think it looks.
You're not giving them a.
No,
yeah.
I don't. I mean, of course that if I do give someone this kind of spirit and understanding that this is freely offered this way, and it doesn't mean that there's going to be an immediate benefit to me. It's how I'm working with how I'm thinking about and feeling into the situation and meeting situations. I don't know, maybe that's just where I am at in my practice, where formal practice isn't really, maybe it's just not interesting or the right medicine right now, or maybe there's some kind of question in here about how it feels and because maybe I think it gets a little bit too intellectualized for me.
I think
so direct,
I think kind of what it sounds like from what I hear is it's very very focused on a single person when you're sending this out, and I think kind of focusing on our practice at the end. Well, the idea is that we're sending that loving kindness to people we've never met, we've never seen, we don't have any connection to them really. I mean, yes, depending on origination, we are all connected, but being able to, and that's kind of part of the without condition, right? Because when you know someone, whether you know them well or not so well, but when you actually know of a person, it is much easier to send goodwill and kindness and generosity to them. But when there are, millions of nameless people to you on this planet, you have no idea who they are. All you know is that because they are alive, they are suffering. Because they have been born, they are suffering. And all we can really do in that moment is send them loving kindness and send them that aspirational sort of goodwill and friendliness. And so, there's no right or wrong answer here. Obviously, this is just kind of an examination. But I think if you wanted to kind of expand that, I would kind of focus more on the end of the meditation and kind of it's almost like having an empathy for people we don't know, to be able to feel that they are suffering just as we suffer, and therefore they need kindness just as much as everyone else. But yeah, do what you want to do. I mean, however we put kindness forth into the world, and goodness, and think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. However we do that is a net positive for everyone, regardless of how we're doing it. So, I mean, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be critical of yourself in how you practice. Especially not in Western Buddhism. We kind of do whatever we want. I mean, if you want to go be a monk, or nun, go do that. But it's very, there are not really too many rules in Buddhism, as to how we proceed. But that's what I would do if I were trying to kind of expand my practice a little bit. But yeah.
Thank you for having this conversation.
I've always struggled with Metta. This is not my favorite practice of all the practices out there. It's the most challenging for me because of the moving from one to the other. It's easier to do people I know, myself, the people that I'm challenged with. I find it a lot harder sometimes to, well, initially it was a struggle to send loving kindness to someone that really agitates me. But I'm finding now that I'm forcing my hand to do this practice more, that I'm less bothered by the irritants in the world. And I have to associate that with just sitting here and sending it out and sitting with it and knowing that for sure we're all struggling and they might just be struggling. So
Yeah.
it's taken a long time, right? It's been hard to get into this. For me personally, this is not the easiest of practices.
Yeah.
Especially if you're moving outside of yourself. It's like, no, I just want to focus on my friends, my mom, or whatever. So.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't say I'm super great at the outside loving kindness practice. I've gone from having before I came to the practice, I would have this absolute hatred for people, and I would just hold on to that, and just resentment and rage, absolute rage. I would get to the point where I was like, I don't think these people deserve to exist, and things like that. These are the kind of thoughts that went in my head. And over the last couple of years, where I've gotten to is now I still feel the anger, I still feel the hatred, I still feel the rage. But now I feel a little bad about it. And I feel like, oh, if somebody felt this way about me, I would feel really bad. And if I'm like, oh, this is not the feeling I want to put towards this person. And that's as far as I've gotten, which is I can now recognize that the feelings are arising and not act on them. I would like to get to the point where the feelings don't arise, but that may or may not ever happen. It's thoughts, words, deeds. I think thoughts are definitely still coming up. Words, we're half and half. I got really good at being a total dick before, so sometimes it just happens. But actions are definitely better. So, I definitely feel that it was really, really difficult at first because you don't want to forgive. And I know I didn't want to forgive. And then when I kind of got into looking at, the three poisons, anger, ignorance, and greed, why do they call them poisons? It's because they literally poison everything they touch. And when you forgive, you can forgive the person for that person, and maybe it makes them feel better, but ultimately it makes you feel better, and you don't have to carry around that anger and hatred anymore. And that was what really, really solidified like my practice, was being able to forgive people, because also I've done a lot of things that I would kind of like to be forgiven for, because I feel like I shouldn't have to. There is consequence. I paid consequence for my actions, absolutely. But because I know that I'm not just those actions, I can make new actions, I can make new decisions. And because of impermanence, I can be a different person now than I used to be. And if I consciously go through my day and try to be better and not do the same things that I know will hurt people, then the world's better, and the people in the immediate area are better, and there's more net good in the world, which is really the whole thing, more net good. So without judgment, without expectation, go through our days. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall back. We're going to move forward. We're going to, some days we're going to sit, and we're going to sit there and be like, I didn't have a single thought in my mind. And some days we're going to sit and we're going to be like, I don't even know how I came up with so many thoughts while I was meditating. But it's the beauty of the whole thing, and beauty of practice, and the beauty of really just being alive in this world. So I think that's a great place to close. I don't know if you guys agree, but that's where I'm going to stop. Thank everyone for being here today. I really appreciate you guys. This is a good one. I definitely needed this practice today. So with that, if you're comfortable, bring your hands to the heart center. May any merit gained from this practice here today be transferred to all beings in all directions. May they be safe. May they be happy. May they be healthy. And may they live with ease. Once again, thank you all for being here. Marcy, our host, has a announcement before you all take off. So hold tight for just a sec.
Hi everyone, my name is Marcy and I'm tonight's host. We opened the Dharma Bum Temple 18 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, masters, or teachers, and are not looking for students. They are simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice. Every night we have different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. We have a recovery sangha that meets several times a week for anyone with addiction, and our food redistribution program is every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We have classes and program every day, and everything we offer here is always free. The full schedule is on our website and also posted in the hallway above the shoe rack. We have a lending library. If you see a book that you like, feel free to borrow it and then bring it back whenever you're done with it. Please straighten your seats or cushions before you head out. And if a few of you can stay behind to close and latch the windows, that would be helpful. Thank you all for being here, and we wish you well and hope to see you all again soon. Thank you.